Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. My name is Laurie Burke, which you probably know if you're here already. And if you want to just put a little something in the chat that you're here and that you can hear me, that would be great so that I know everything's working, in today's crazy thing. Hi, Sherry. Oh, hi, Sherry. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming on. Well, today we're going to talk about when you know it's time to get a voiceover agent. So as people come in, hi Ryan, Lori, hi. Oh my God, it's so good to see you guys. I mean, kind of one way, see you guys. And hello Backstage. Hi. How are you doing? Well, you guys that are on here are probably already voiceover artists. This particular question came from one of my students. So first, if you don't know who I am, I'll just tell you, you can find out everything about me below here. Pretty sure Katie put everything in the links below, but virtualvoiceover.com is my company or my coaching program that I'm going to launch soon. And my name is Laurie Burke. You could go to laurieburke.com and see some stuff I've done to see whether this information seems somewhat relevant to you and whether you should listen to me, quite frankly. But I've been working a long time, so I hope so. So I'm going to share some of my experience with you. This question again came from one of my students, Jim, and he, after we had already worked and he had put together certain things, he's like, am I ready for my voiceover demo? And it dawned on me that I've had this question asked of me quite a few times in my coaching career for many, many years. And it's been one of those things that like you don't know until you know. And it's something that you have to really decide to do and make an educated decision to put yourself out there. The worst thing you could do is to rush something and to go to an agent and not be ready for it. So I'm going to just kind of go over a few of the things that that you might want to think of, before you make that decision. So the first thing is you should know what an agent does, right? It sounds really silly. Everybody kind of talks like they know what it is. I know for me, I didn't know the capacity of what an agent does until I was well into my career. And so basically what an agent does is, they're the go-between between you and the people that would be hiring you, right? Now, the difference of why you would get an agent is because sometimes they have a relationship with companies straight off. Like let's say, they work with Pixar directly, or they work with Google or whatever it is, and they go directly to that agent. When an agent takes you on, they're taking you on to represent you. So remember that they want the best, right? And you want the best. It's a two-way street. You want to make sure that you have an agent that you really jive with, that will represent you in a good way. And also when these big companies that they've developed relationships with come to them, they're going to send out the people that they know can work and do it on time and deliver and know what they're doing and have experience and things like that. So they take a percentage that way, right, of your stuff, which if your actor's on here, then already that they take a little bit of your check, your agents, but it's basically their reach is probably more, well, it's always more than just you on your own. Okay. Now, that being said, it brings me into my first point of a question that you have to ask yourself is, where are you in your career? Did you just start out? Are you experienced? Are you not experienced? To tell you a little bit about me, I worked without an agent for a good at least 3 years. I booked Google Voice, I got on my own, if you can believe that, right? And this is before we had all the things that everybody has now to make it so easy to get a job, through the internet. Like Backstage has things that are on here, right, that you can submit for. And there's loads, especially since lockdown and quarantine and everything. I mean, voiceover has just been exploding, right? Exploding. So more and more sites have come up, more and more companies have come up that let you post your demo or audition for things. Definitely, there's a lot of different companies out there, and we can get into that later. But remember that I started my career doing this and all virtually. So I've been doing this virtual stuff for, almost 20 years now, so you can absolutely do it without an agent first to kind of build up your resume and really get some experience under your belt. Again, the worst thing you could do is really rush into it, because if you go to an agent too soon And let's say they even take you, you're probably not going to get a lot of work if you can't keep up with everything and you don't know what the dialogue is and you don't know what the language is and how to deliver. So that kind of brings me to the second point, which is do you have any credits? Right. And I know it's a catch 22, right? Because you're like, well, I would have credits if I got jobs, which would be from getting an agent to get me a job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So, they don't have to be big fancy credits, but it would be great if you had some things that you can show them, right? This is going to go beyond your demo. What this says to them is that, okay, I know what I'm doing. I mean, I've worked in this before. I have experience, even if it's limited. I will say some agents will take you without experience. However, you better have, I don't know if I can say that. I was going to swear right there. You better have a really great demo. You better have an amazing demo that can show them, like, wow, I really need this person on my roster, right? Because the people that they have the relationship with are really going to them because they admire their credibility, right? They trust their judgment of people that they're representing. So you better have like an outstanding demo. So if you do have a lot of credits though and not a demo, I don't know any agent that would really take you without a demo. I'll tell you that, unless you know somebody and they're going to kind of get you in there, right? So I have a lot of videos on what makes a good demo and why a good demo is important. It's your calling card. It's your only chance, pretty much, to get your foot in the door and show people what you can do. And that also is the quality of the demo, how it sounds. It has to sound professional. Right now, it's even more so because we are working in our virtual home studios, right? So again, what I teach is virtual voiceover. So that's more of always having your own home studio and having your own business. So you better make sure that your studio sounds really good and the best quality. That means your demo has to sound really good and the best quality. Okay. Because now the jobs are coming in. They've changed from just going, your agent will call you and you'll go into a studio, right? And be directed and all that stuff. Now it's changed. If you really want to work at this and you really want to make a good living, you have to have your own home studio. And that means, Source Connect. And if you don't know what some of these terms are, you can look up other videos or ask me in the chat afterwards, because I'll take some questions afterwards for sure. You better have everything dialed down to where you are ready to go and deliver top quality things. So, another thing to know is whether you're FICOR or whether you're SAG, right? Or whether you're non-union. That's 3 different things. If you don't know what those are, I've talked about these in other videos as well. You can go on my YouTube channel, has most of these videos on it. And you have to know if that agent represents just union or union and non-union or FICOR or what things, because some agents will only represent union people. And some agents do mostly non-union, and that depends on your market that you're in as well, right? But you have to know your own values, your own assets that you can bring to the table. So just something to really think about. You also need to know, and this is probably the most important thing, your own business. You need to know that you can actually, like, what it looks like for you to get a job and to deliver on that job. And that means even going into the studio. So if hopefully you're studying with somebody, or you've already studied or whatever, and they kind of gave you some inside knowledge of how it is to work in a studio if you do get called in, or how to deliver from home if you get that through your agent, if you get some sort of thing. Again, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10 now, at least the bigger jobs, they're saying, do you have Source Connect? Which is, again, I'll just go over quickly so you don't have to go to these other videos, but basically it's a software that you have on your computer and you record into, and that actually goes to their board in a studio, in a professional studio, because everybody is, quarantined and they don't want to put anybody at risk. So there are a lot of those jobs now are saying, are you Source Connect? And also, what is your equipment? They want to know that your equipment, that you're serious and that your equipment is good and that you know what you're doing and that you know all the bells and whistles. I mean, it's even more. And I said this before at the beginning of it. I just think there's going to be such a clear cut of people, of the really, really qualified voiceover studied people, and the people that are just kind of like, oh, I just kind of want to roll into it and try this. There's a big divide now, and it's just getting bigger because these people that really, took the time to learn the craft and respect it and have their own home studio and their own business know what they're doing. And we have a lot of fun doing it because we get to be at home and do it. But, really it's so important because the impression that you make, and I'm just going to circle back into when you first go to even look for an agent, if you decide that you want to do that, your first impression is everything. Now, some agents are really nice and they might say, listen, you got to come back to me when you have more skills, or you might want to take this class. I do want to really, really point out, you should never pay for an agent. Okay. You should never, a lot of agents do recommend like, hey, go here to get this demo done or get this, make sure that um, that they're not taking something off the top or that they don't get a kickback. Usually it's like unless they actually work with that person all the time and it's, some sort of partnership, you shouldn't have to pay for this. It's a two-way street, right? The agent wants a good voiceover artist and you want a good agent, and you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you, that you have the same styles. That there are agents, they all work in different ways. So that's something to really consider when you do decide that you want a voiceover agent. I would say if you're just starting out, your voiceover credits and your experience is what you should be concentrating on. First, of course, always study, because I'm very big on that, but also just doing it, having credits. I've done this for a year, I've done these, and I don't care where they're at. Just something that you could have a dialogue about, like, this is how I've worked it. This is the equipment I've worked on, so that you have some sort of knowledge. If I was representing someone, I am not an agent, nor do I aspire to be, but if I was representing somebody, I would want to know, okay, what are you working on? Do you know how to use everything? Do you know what's new in the trends? Have you studied with anybody? Are you continuing to study? Do you have an open dialogue with them? You really want to keep track of what it is, because everybody wants to work and everybody wants to make money. They don't make money unless you make money, right? So you have the distinct advantage, though, to not only have an agent, but you could do things on your own as well, right? Like I said, get on Backstage or other places that post jobs and just start doing it. Just start doing it. And at first you're like, I know you're auditioning and that might seem kind of, sometimes you get discouraged because you didn't book as much as you thought, or you thought it was good. It doesn't matter. This is all teaching you to be a better voiceover artist. I did it. This is not over nowhere. Like I said, I worked a long time without an agent. And then once I got an agent, it got me into kind of a bigger pool, and it got me into a bigger, a lot more avenues that I could go into, and a lot of bigger jobs, I would say, was definitely through the agencies. And I said, I always ask, like, God, you guys are so great, and I'm always getting there. They're like, yeah, well, you send in your auditions all the time, right? If they send them to you, you deliver it, and you deliver it when they need it. And sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long, and that relationship you have to keep up and do it. So I always say it's great to have an agent when it's time and when you're ready. And if you're studying with somebody, ask them, are you ready? Am I ready for an agent? And they'll probably tell you what I just told you. Maybe depends on who you're studying with. But you really want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, so that when you get there, you are when you've arrived, you're really, really prepared and you can do a great job. So if anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat right now, and I am happy to answer them for you. Oh, here's one from Rose Taylor. A friend of mine has an amazing voice, but she's only done Broadway and TV. I think I love only done Broadway and TV. A lot of people, I know, like, looking back, it kind of becomes so regular, but a lot of people would die to do only Broadway or TV. Anyway, I think she would do amazing in voiceover during this time. I didn't know there were different agents. She's teaching me too. Yeah, Rose. Okay, so the thing is, a lot of us, I'm an actor too, and on camera as well, and a host and singing as well. So a lot of us, I've started in voiceover a long time ago, but a lot of us now are expanding because voiceover is becoming so much bigger because of all this quarantine. And I don't see this going away. I only see this as getting bigger and bigger and growing. I think there is certain things, Rose, that are different when you're used to being on TV and on Broadway, and taking that into the voiceover realm. And I do speak about this a lot in some other of my videos. Again, I think they're on YouTube, that it's usually a mental shift for actors. that to get into voiceover and kind of deliver in a different way. And there's some tricks and things like that that I've noticed that I think work for some of my students. And she probably would do great in voiceover, and she sings, so I would put that in her credits of that. And Broadway, she could be that sort of voiceover type that can do a lot, probably animation, I would think. So I would totally support her, Rose. I think you're a good friend. I think you're a good friend. I didn't know, and there are different agents. The different agents, as I've said before, not different agents in voiceover. Usually, there are agents that maybe specify. They're usually within one umbrella, so there might be under one voiceover agency. There might be one person that deals with animation, and one person deals with narration, and one person deals with commercial. If you're in a smaller market, a lot of the agencies, like San Francisco, they have one agency that handles everything, right? And then they may or may not have different departments even within there that are like on camera talent and then voiceover, right? So it's a smaller market than Los Angeles. Los Angeles, we have an agent for everything, right? Really everything, all the different types of on camera things as well, as well as voiceover. So I think you're spot on to kind of encourage her to do that. And Rose, you too. Why not, right? I'm assuming you're an actress on here too, and Backstage. Backstage is a great place to also, again, I don't get anything for this, but Backstage is a great place to also look for the postings and just send in your auditions, right? The number one thing you could do is audition, audition, audition to get this kind of experience before you go into an agency. And again, like I said, it's a two-way street, right? With your agent, it's a two-way street. So just look at that as a really good relationship that you want to develop, and that is necessary to grow into being seen being heard by a lot more people, and a lot more things. So if anybody else has any other questions, hi Wilbert, thank you. I'm understanding you, Coach Laurie. Thank you. I'm so glad. And I hope you guys are doing well. I know we're kind of we're back at work, and then now I don't know if we're going back. I don't know what we're doing, but I'm happy to see you here. This will replay on Backstage, as well as probably will be on my YouTube also. I share it there. And if you have any questions about me, you could go to virtualvoiceover.com, go to laurieburke.com, whatever. Leave comments on my YouTube, all that stuff. Yeah, that's it. If there's no more questions, I'm going to sign off, and hopefully that was helpful to you. So I wish you guys all luck, and keep talking, and have a great day. Bye.